Hello, everybody, and welcome to another. Oh, excuse me. Welcome to another edition of Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It's Google and F. Michael Fletcher, alongside Anthony Florio and Didi Woodson. We're awaiting our good friend Michael Bullock. He should be here momentarily. You guys know the routine, Smackdown Live, but tonight we have a preview of Aew Revolution that's going down on Sunday night. But we're going to preview that for you guys here tonight as well. So we started it off with a promo by Daniel Bryan. Strong promo. Nice start to him. There was a rebuttal by Roman Reigns. A nice little setup for later in the night as Daniel Bryan will be fighting Jey Uso inside the confines of a 15-foot high steel-tempered cage. If Daniel Bryan wins, he gets to fight Roman Reigns at Fastlane for the Universal title. And a strong start to the show. Anthony Florio, there's really nothing more to add. I think they laid the table out really well for what was on tap for the rest of tonight's show.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, you're absolutely right. Here continues to be the best part of the show right here. I mean, this segment did not need to continue after the commercial break. Daniel Bryan's long promo was the best way to open the show. Having Reigns and Uso give a quick response was unnecessary. Bryan has always been great at giving this kind of promo. He has real passion for the business, and it always comes across when he speaks. Reigns' speech was good, but it was exactly the same thing we have heard him say for weeks and months. A separate response at a different point during the show would have been better. But other than that little nitpick, fine segment, fine way to start the show. So, not really more to say. Phenom Michael Bullock, he's just made it in. So, Mr. Bullock, it's all yours. Opening segment.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a fine opening segment to start the show. I mean, obviously, Daniel Bryan obviously making it clear that he was going to win that cage match later on and basically head to Fastlane to challenge Reigns for the Universal Championship. And then, yeah, Reigns cutting his typical heel promo. I mean, him and Jey Uso were trying to get into the head of Daniel Bryan, but obviously that's not going to work for someone like Daniel Bryan. So, yeah. So how did everything turn on in the steel cage? We'll find out later on. So nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, it was a good opening segment. I agree they didn't really need to come back and have the rebuttal at the beginning of the show. It could have been later on in the night. So, yeah, great way to start the show. So nothing else I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
All right, I'm gonna lump this together because this is kind of a 2-for-1 thing. All right, so next up we had was Montez Ford, one half of the Street Profits, going up against Baron Corbin. Corbin wins the match in 2 minutes and 26 seconds. All right, what happened was there was interference. Sami Zayn's crew caused a distraction that led to the end of days, and Corbin won the match. But then Sami Zayn's like, all right, great. Well, why don't you have my back? I got to fight Angelo Dawkins. Have my back. Nope. Corbin does not reciprocate. It's like, you know what? You're on your own. I'm out of here. I'm going to hit the showers. He goes to the locker room. So Angelo Dawkins versus Sami Zayn. Angelo Dawkins wins the match in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So Baron Corbin beats Montez Ford. Angelo Dawkins takes down Sami Zayn. Anthony Florio, Sami was looking for a little help. He's thinking, hey, my boys helped you win your match. Why don't you, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. Baron Corbin's like, screw you, you're on your own. And we saw what happened next.
I'm going to give both matches 2 stars. King Corbin and Sami Zayn not getting along was a nice bit of continuity. Just because 2 guys are heels does not mean they should be friends. It was kind of fun to see Corbin take the high road for once. The King worked clean, but the distraction from Zayn helped him keep up his heel persona. It was perfectly in line with his character to leave Zayn alone after a small miscommunication. Dawkins picking up the win after his partner lost, even the score, but also made this entire sequence of events a wash. Both matches were short, but did have some decent action. It just wasn't enough to make up for the lack of logic in how everything was booked. So 2 stars for both matches. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Florio on this one. I'll give 2 stars for both matches. I mean, it was fine for what it was. Nothing really that special to write home about. Obviously, yes, Lane Duckman was looking for some help from Corbin after his camera crew helped Corbin win, but Corbin's like, "Screw you, Sami Zayn. I'm done. You're on your own." And yeah, you saw the end result, and so yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it is yours.
I pretty much agree with everything that's been said, so it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Solid matches on both fronts. Really nothing more to add. So next up we had was Dominic Mysterio going one-on-one with Chad Gable. Winner of the bout in 3 minutes and 27 seconds. Dominic Mysterio wins the match, but gets jumped by Otis after the match was over. Do you guys want to talk about it briefly, or do you just want to move on? By the silence in the room, sounds like a move on. All right, so next up we had was Bianca Belair with Sasha Banks and Reginald. She went up against Shayna Baszler with Nia Jax, and the winner of the bout in 4 minutes and 23 seconds was the EST of WWE. Bianca Belair wins the match. Major momentum for the number one contender for the Smackdown Women's title and for the Women's Champion as they're heading in the Fastlane. As you now know, at Fastlane, it will be Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks going up against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Michael Bullock, big momentum boost for Bianca heading to Mania, but also a big boost for them with this big win tonight. But Reggie, what are you doing? You stuck your nose where it didn't belong. Are you a Death Wish, bro?
I think he's probably asking for it, Fletch, on that. What was the time of the fall again?
4:23.
It was a fine match for what it was, but it was too short for my liking. I'll give it about maybe 1 to 1.5 for the effort there. But yeah, you definitely gotta say that that Bianca Belair's got some momentum, not only going into WrestleMania, but of course for her and Sasha Banks going into the women's tag team title match at Fastlane. So yeah, but something tells me when it comes to this women's tag team title match, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I got the sense we're gonna have some kind of a screwy finish, because remember, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair are going at it for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania. So something tells me one of these two is going to turn on each other. I just got that feeling. I mean, when I first heard about the match, I'm like, I smell something here. So I could smell one turning on the other. I just don't know who's going to be the one to do it. I think it could be Sasha Banks, but we'll wait and see. So, really, nothing more to say. Dee Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, this was an interesting development because even before the match started, we saw Reginald trying to bring Carmella wine, and she slaps it in his face, and pretty much fires him, just for him to turn up at ringside with Sasha when Belair has her match. The match, I'm going to do a 1.5 to 2 stars. It was a good match. The two of them looked good together, but Belair did give Sasha a warning, about getting rid of Reginald before Fastlane. So hopefully we'll see what happens in the next week or so on what's going to go on with Reginald, because it looks like right now Reginald is out of a job. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah. Could this just be a ploy, though? Could this be just a work on Carmella just to give, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But if you notice, after the match was over, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax both got their hands on Reginald, and it looked like, Reginald, you were done for, but Nia thinks he's cute. What? Okay, I could already sense something right now. Reginald might help Nia and Shayna keep the belts because of this little attraction that Nia has for Reginald. I could already see it right now, guys. And that would open the door for Bianca and Sasha to say, all right, fine, whatever. We can focus on the job. I don't know. I could say 1.5 to 2. It was a fine match. As long as we could keep Reginald away at the end, that's good enough for me. But like Florio said, as long as they don't get Reginald involved at the match at WrestleMania, that's all I'm asking. That's all we're asking. We don't care if he interferes here, if he interferes there, that's fine. Just do not do that at WrestleMania when Sasha and Bianca get it on. It needs to be a clean fight. Winner take all, must have a winner by pinfall or submission. It's WrestleMania, people.
Let them go.
Let them go.
Go at it.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't need any of that Reginald crap there. If they do that, watch out! I'm gonna blow my mind.
The last time we had a match at WrestleMania that had high stakes like this, where I felt we had a screwy finish, man, I want to go back to what, 27? Where The Rock screwed over Cena to help The Miz keep the WWE title? That absolutely pissed me the hell off. Like, I was furious that night. And Florio knows I was flipping out on The Rock. So, nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
Again, I say Reginald is the new James Ellsworth. Can we all agree on that? So,
I'm with you.
Can't disagree with that.
Matter of fact, I think he's a bigger pain in the ass than Ellsworth ever was. And we thought Ellsworth was a pain in the ass. Oh my God, this guy's far worse. Oh God. But
I don't know, Florio. I still think James Ellsworth's probably a little bit worse than Reginald. Not saying that Reginald's better. I mean, I'm just saying that James Ellsworth was a little more of a pain in the neck than Reginald.
Well, that's your opinion. I disagree, but it's your opinion. But anyways, quickly, I know you already moved past the other match, but the Gable and Dominic match, I stepped away for during that moment. So by the time I came back, MF had moved on. And I didn't want to interrupt, but I quickly want to get into that for a quick moment. I mean, that was a quick match, but it also ended up being one of the best technical performances we have seen from Dominic Mysterio, and it was no surprise that it was against Chad Gable, and the Alpha Academy leader, among the best pure wrestlers WWE has to offer. He can elevate just about anybody, but because he is that smooth in his delivery and execution, and pairing him with Dominic was a smart call. And that was also another example of 50-50 booking, but the feud is just getting going. So they can afford to trade wins until WWE decides which team is going to come out on top. So that was a solid 2 to 2.25 there. As far as this is concerned, I'm going to be honest with you. Going into this match, I had high hopes for this match. I thought this had potential to be perhaps the second best fight of the night, because we know what these two can do. We saw what they did in NXT. The match they had in Phoenix a couple of years ago on that takeover, that was a hell of a match. Unfortunately, this one, nowhere near as good. And of course, Ellsworth 2.0 had to stick his nose in it. Wow, what a surprise. But anyways, Shayna Baszler does so many little things to make her offense look painful. Whether she is manipulating joints a la Pete Dunne or laying in her strikes, she is always convincing. The shenanigans at ringside are beyond a trifle unnecessary. It kind of took away from the action in the ring for me. Hopefully, this was the end of Reginald's involvement, because he has added absolutely, positively nothing to this feud. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair get along, but they are not acting like they're besties. So there is a good chance that they'll lose at Fastlane, and maybe one turns on the other. We'll have to wait and see on that. So I'll give this another 1.5 to 2 for the effort. Very disappointing, MF, because this had potential to be something good because of their prior work in NXT. But once again, that little Ellsworth 2.0 had to stick his damn nose in it and ruin it for all of us. Enough. Get out. In the immortal words of Mr. Wilbon and MF, get out.
Get out.
All right.
Yeah.
Next.
And all that. Yeah. All right. MF's ready to move on, so let's just move on.
Yeah. So next up we had was Cesaro versus Murphy. Cesaro wins the match in 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Didi Woodson, this was stemming back from last week when Cesaro basically gave Seth Rollins a ride. Basically gave him the Cesaro swing. Well, Rollins kind of got a little pissy about that and kind of goaded his old disciple Murphy into this match. Well, did not work for Murphy as he tapped out quickly in 4:12.
Yeah, the backstage segment, Murphy had come up, after the interview and basically said, that he wanted to help Seth, and Seth basically told him to get out. So here now we are facing Cesaro with Murphy, and it was a lot. I would say it was very one-sided, in my opinion. Because it was more Cesaro basically showing off to Seth and then doing the extremely long swing on Murphy just to prove to Seth that, no, you're not the only one I can swing that long. So, I'm probably going to give it, maybe 1.5, possibly 2 again. But, yeah, I thought it was very one-sided. I wasn't that impressed with it. So, it's yours.
Unfortunately, Murphy got caught in a crossfire. As you know, there was a lot that they were going to try to do with Murphy. They were trying to match him up with Aaliyah Mysterio, and for some odd reason, it kind of fell apart. I don't know if it was, I think it was more because there was COVID concerns more than anything else, but they really stalled Murphy at that point, and unfortunately, there was nothing more for Murphy to do at that point. And now he just comes back, goes up against Cesaro. Cesaro's getting a big-time push right now, and it looks like he's got a big possible rivalry in the works with Seth Rollins. So, unfortunately, Murphy was the sacrificial lamb on this one. They made Cesaro look great tonight, which he's always been great. I think it's about damn time that he's actually being spotlighted on Smackdown Live. Thank you guys for finally realizing how god awesome the King of Swing is, the Swiss Superman Cesaro. And yeah, there's really nothing more to add. I agree with the 2 stars. It could have been a bigger spotlight, but it's a good win for him. It gives him a nice little push, and it adds more fuel to the fire to the rivalry between him and Seth Rollins. So when Rollins and Cesaro get it on, that could possibly have the makings to be one heck of a fight. Anthony, it's yours.
I'm gonna give this 2.25 to 2.5 stars. Another disappointing short match. I mean, this MF, I'm gonna be really honest with you right here and now. Had they been given twice as much time and didn't have Seth Rollins distracting us on commentary, this could have been the match of the week, let alone the night. Cesaro and Murphy showed great chemistry and used their skills to make each other look good. The only thing that could have made this better would have been getting more time with them. Rollins didn't seem impressed with Murphy's efforts and made no effort to help him. So this might have been a one-time interaction for the former allies. But what a damn shame. I mean, you give these 2 time to work, this is a fight of the night anywhere. So MF, another golden opportunity by the wayside. I mean, you had one with Bianca and Shayna. You had one here with these guys as well.
But I understand why they didn't want to have it overshadow, because look what came right behind.
Very true.
So
Very true.
I get it. This is one of those times where I get it, I understand it, and you're absolutely right, Florio. You're 1,000% correct, but I get it, because look what's right behind. Look what was next in the main event spot.
Right. Fair enough.
Obviously that couldn't top it.
Nope, you're right. So with all that being said, I'm still gonna call this the second best fight of the night. I'm actually gonna give this 2.5 stars, and as we always like to say, as I give it to Michael Bullock, fun little sprint that could have been so much more.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this was a fun little sprint. 2.5 for me. I mean, it could have been better if I'd given more time, but obviously, like you said, because of what was coming up next. So, yeah, nice win for Cesaro, and obviously to continue his ongoing rivalry with Seth Rollins. So, nothing more to say. Fletch, I think it's time for the main event.
Before we get into the main event, I want to get into this promo that was done by Apollo Crews. And I gotta say, man, Anthony, you talked about it last week that this heel turn is making wonders. Ever since they've turned him Nigerian, and this ancestral Nigerian family type thing.
A la Coming to America.
Like
Prince Akeem, for goodness sakes.
Dude, but it's working. I believe him. I like this. This is one of his... Honest to God, WWE has made some stupid decisions in their day. This might actually be one of the rare times I'm actually applauding the writing, McMahon, and everything else. I think they found Apollo Crews' niche. This is Your thoughts? Quick?
I was waiting for the cue there, but all right. Like I said, two names come to mind. The first one I just name dropped, Prince Hakeem, Eddie Murphy, one of the greatest movies of all time, Coming to America, and then of course the new one, the reboot that just came out, that's going to be streaming on Amazon Prime Video for those of you who have it. I got that sense. That was one sense that came out of it, and the other, it kind of reminded me a little bit of King Booker. I mean, it kind of had the King Booker kind of thing. You remember when King Booker, Booker had that King Booker accent. We all remember that. It kind of reminds me a little of that too. But yeah, solid heel promo from Apollo Crews, and it was announced that Big E will be returning from his injuries next week. So perhaps we start planting the seeds for their Intercontinental feud. I got a feeling it's going to lead to something at Fastlane, but I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up ending in a screwy finish and then it ends up carrying over to Mania.
Yeah.
And I think if that should happen, I think the Mania match will definitely be better, because I got a feeling there could be a stipulation on that one. I don't know why, but I think it's going to be a clunk finish, or it's probably a double DQ or a no contest, because they're going to get too aggressive and the ref's going to throw it out, and they'll order an immediate rematch for WrestleMania. And if they should do that, you put those two hosses in at Raymond James, 30,000 or whatever they want to get in there. You've got sleeper fight of the night potential right there. So we'll wait and see. So I think next week we'll plant the seeds for that, because he's coming back next week. So not much more to say on that. So
but you don't have to go to Bullock and Didi.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to give a quick thought, because I know how much we were praising him last week about his heel gimmick. So I just wanted to play off that. But we are going to the main event: Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso inside the confines of a steel cage. Winner of the bout in 13 minutes, 36 seconds. Daniel Bryan via submission. He's going to be going up against Roman Reigns for the Universal title at Fastlane. Fight of the night. We expected it. We knew this was going to happen. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. This was an excellent battle. Both guys did really well. They used the cage very well, utilized it as good as you could do it, and we got the necessary outcome. Everybody goes home happy. Daniel Bryan finally gets his shot, a fair shot now at the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns, and now the winner of that match will fight Edge at WrestleMania. So, I mean, let's see how this plays out. Anthony Florio, you got it. The leader of the Yes Movement, Daniel Bryan, finally gets his shot at Roman Reigns for the Universal title.
Fair, yeah, and it'll be a fair fight, unlike what we saw at the Chamber. But far and away the fight of the night. Let's not kid ourselves. This was 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso beat each other senseless and put on a fun cage match to end what was an uneven episode of Smackdown, and I do mean uneven. Both men looked great and used the cage in smart ways, like MF said. They weren't constantly throwing each other into it, so it had more impact when they did use it to their advantage. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at Fastlane will be great. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up stealing the damn show. But the outcome is predictable. This week's show had some fun wrestling, but didn't do a lot to further the ongoing storylines, and I'll get more into that shortly. But for right now, 3.5, 3 3/4 of a star. This was the fight of the night, hands down. But then again, we knew it was going to be. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Daniel Bryan, unlike the Chamber, he's going to get a fair fight against Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And somebody called Thunderdome security, because them two boys, they're going to steal the dang show.
Oh, they're definitely going to steal the show. And yes, this is definitely going to be a fair fight. Well, and let's just say there are two people that are not happy with this outcome. Any guesses on what those two would be?
The tribal chief and his special counsel.
Well, you had one part right, but
the rated R superstar Edge is not happy about it either.
Yeah, Edge.
Yeah, because I mean, you know how much Edge really wants Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, so you know he's going to probably be pulling for Daniel Bryan. I mean, he's pulling for Roman Reigns at Fastlane, so he can get that one-on-one encounter with the tribal chief. So 3.5, 3 3/4. I agree with the rating. This is definitely the fight of the night, hands down. We knew it was going to be something special with these two inside a steel cage, and yeah, Fastlane. You're going to get a fresh Daniel Bryan against the tribal chief. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, I'll give it about 3.5 stars. It was definitely the fight of the night. Hands down, they did a great job. So yeah, I'm not going to add too much more to what y'all said. Switchers, Fletch.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna start with the overall reviews here. I'll start it off. Normally, I know Anthony would go, but I'll just start it. It was a very uneven show. I'll openly admit it. This is the quintessential 50-50 show. And the thing is that the matches had good quality, but they were too short. That was the one drawdown of the show. Bianca versus Shayna. Any other time, this fight would have blown the doors off the Smackdown. If we would have gotten ample time, more time, this would have been one of the best fights of the evening. Same thing with Cesaro and Buddy Murphy. The same thing in that one. Match, if they would have put in it a longer match, this fight probably would have been one of the top fights of the evening. Unfortunately, they started out strong. They ended strong. The middle was a complete and utter mess. That's the downside of tonight's show. And the thing is that it had the makings of being an electric show. So, unfortunately, SmackDown just got their booking and everything they did was great. They just shot themselves in the foot this time around. It was like, it wasn't that there was nothing wrong with the show. It's that you guys didn't give enough time for some of the stories to build. 5 out of 10. I'm sorry. It's a 50-50 show. And the thing is, it could have been a lot better. It just is that SmackDown got in their own way on this one. Because if you would have given Shayna and Bianca maybe, 7-8 minutes? And if you gave Murphy versus Cesaro, like at least 10 minutes, we would be talking about maybe an 8 show. At least 8.5. SmackDown just got in its own way. We were far better than Raw, but we shot ourselves in the foot because of the way that we handled the show. It's not, this time you can't blame the writers for this. Whoever is the matchmakers who gives them the length of time for these fights, they're the bumbling idiots that cost us tonight. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, this was a 5 out of 10 for me as well. Yeah, you said it. I mean, there were 2 matches on this show that both had potential to be really great, but unfortunately, they ended up being criminally short. That being Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler, like I said, going back to their days in NXT, especially the match they had in Phoenix a couple of years ago when they tore the house down there. But, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, one great match. All the other matches were way too short. I mean, the main event program, they were Roman, Bryan, Uso, they were the stars of this show. But then again, they're always the stars of the show. I'd like to see somebody else from Team Blue step it up and be a star of the show. And then you also had repetitiveness, MF. I mean, that's a Monday Night Raw problem. That's not a SmackDown thing. You guys don't do repetitiveness. That's what Raw does. That's why Raw sucks every week almost. But even though we had the moment of the week with Bobby Lashley winning the title, but still, I mean, Bryan and Uso, hands down the fight of the night. The other match is criminally short, especially Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, and Cesaro and Murphy. If those two had been given a good amount of time, oh yeah, this would have been a far better show. Definitely a step down from last week, but not as bad as that dumpster fire 2 weeks ago. I mean, 2 weeks ago, that was hands down your worst show of the year. You're getting better, but you still need some work. Last week was a good step, but this week it was a step back. 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, MF. You know that song better than anybody. I mean, you killed that vocal, by the way. So, but anywho, I'll park it there. 5 out of 10, 50-50 show. Bullock, what about it?
Yeah, 5 out of 10 for me. I'm with you guys on everything you just said, so I'm just going to give it to Dee Woodson.
Yeah, it's definitely a 5 out of 10. To nitpick a little bit, the gimmick is great for Apollo Crews, but we don't need the accent. I mean, he's never had an accent throughout the whole time he's been there. He doesn't need it now. It's just another thing like they did when Kofi was supposedly from the Bahamas, the islands. So, yeah, we don't need that. And, yeah, there's a lot of repetitive, a lot of lame short matches because they're trying to book as many in a short amount of time as they can. And we've had that nitpick before also, especially on Raw when you're trying to squeeze 8 to 10 matches in a 3-hour thing, or here they're trying to squeeze in 5 to 6 in a 2-hour thing. It doesn't work. It's not a good mix because you can't build up the story. You can't get people behind you in it. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on. SmackDown used to be really, really, awesome, and now these last few weeks it's kind of like Floria said, taking a couple steps backwards. So hopefully, before Fastlane comes around, both shows hopefully will pick up and get a little bit better than what they're doing right now. So I will see you guys Monday. Good night.
All right, and with that, we're just going to move right on along, guys, as we're going to AEW Revolution. AEW Revolution going down this Sunday night. And, guys, we got ourselves a crazy, crazy, crazy fight card. So, first off, this was just added today. It is the Casino Tag Team Battle Royale, where the winners will receive a future AEW World Tag Team title match, and the participants of this match is Bear Country, which is Bear Boulder and Bear Bronson, the Dark Order. Now, there's a couple of Dark Order members, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, and Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. Inner Circle members, we got is Santana and Ortiz, Butcher and the Blade, Private Party, Top Flight, the Death Triangle, which will be Rey Fenix and Pac, the Varsity Blondes, the Seidel Brothers, SoCal Unlimited, which will be Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, the Natural Nightmares, QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes, Chaos Project, the Gun Club, which is Austin Gunn and Caleb and Kaiten Gunn, Dark Order members, Alan Angel and Preston Weiss. The pretty picture, which is Peter Avalon and Cesar Bonani, and of course Jurassic Express, which is Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and a mystery team that has not been announced. All we know is that it's a TBD, to be announced, a TBA. We don't know who that last team is. So, after all that, I don't know. I mean, maybe Santana or Ortiz? Maybe they get the shot? Could be the mystery team, whoever that may be. We don't know yet. I don't know, guys. This is tough to call. Anthony, do you want to at least take a venture of a guess here?
Absolutely, I would. But before we get into before we get into the match here, it's very simply put. The rules of the match are as follows: order of entry is selected by lottery. 2 teams will start the bout. Every 90 seconds, a new team enters the bout. Individual eliminations occur when a competitor is thrown over the top rope, both feet hit the floor. Tag teams are eliminated when both competitors have been ruled out of the match. The match will continue until there is only one competitor/team remaining, and the winning team will earn a future shot at the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Private Party has been the highest profile team of the bunch of late, thanks in large part to their on-screen partnership with Big Money Matt Hardy and crossover appearances on Impact Wrestling. They have built considerable momentum for themselves and are en route to delivering Hardy that massive payday he has been chasing. But do not count out John Silver and Alex Reynolds, who have made the absolute most of every opportunity presented to them this year. Dynamic and explosive, they could easily win the match and eventually the titles, especially if Johnny gets hung and starts tearing through the competition. The Dark Horse team is Bear Country, who AEW fans have not seen a bunch of. Bear Bronson and Bear Boulder are nasty bruisers who will offset the aerial antics of Top Flight's Dante and Darius Martin while matching Santana and Ortiz's tenacity. Whether they can earn their first significant victory on a major pay-per-view broadcast is uncertain. But I am going with the Dark Order's Alex Reynolds and John Silver. I think they're going to win this Casino Tag Team Battle Royale. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, who you got?
I'm with you, Florio. That's who I'm going with, too. I'm going with Alex Reynolds and John Silver, the Dark Order here. I mean, there's just something about them that I like, and I think they deserve a chance at the AEW World Tag Team titles in the future. So I'm going with Alex Reynolds and John Silver. So Fletch, let's move on.
All right, guys, and with that said, we will indeed move on to the next match of the evening. That will be in a tag team match. Miro and Kip Sabian, they're going up against the best friends of Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. Anthony, Florio, you lead off. We all know how this storyline started all the way back when Chuck Taylor was forced to be the butler of Miro, Kip Sabian, and Penelope Ford. It all led into the wedding, and we all know what happened next after that.
Yeah, Miro made life a living hell for Chuck Taylor, ahead of Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford's dream wedding at Beach Break, forcing him to be his personal butler after beating the Kentucky Gentleman in singles competition. It backfired as Taylor and Orange Cassidy ruined Sabian and Ford's big day and made Miro look like a fool in the process. Now the formerly known Bulgarian Brute will look for revenge as he partners with Superbad to battle Taylor and Cassidy in tag team competition. We have seen a more angry, ruthless, and ferocious side of late out of the best man, as Miro has exhibited the unstoppable fury fans waited for upon his arrival at AEW. He has snapped on more than one occasion, leaving anyone in his path lying in a heap. He is most certainly the X factor in Sunday's match and the competitor Taylor and Cassidy will hope to neutralize if they have any shot of picking up the win. As great a tag team specialist as Taylor is, and as much as Cassidy grew and evolved in 2020 during his feud with Chris Jericho, it feels rather unlikely they will be able to stop the path of rage that Miro is on. So the winners of this match, Miro and Kip Sabian. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Oh, who'd you go with, Florio?
I went with Miro and Kip Sabian.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miro and Kip Sabian too, because you know that they're looking for payback after Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy ruined the big day for Kip and Penelope Ford. So and especially with Miro's angry side, so you know that anger is gonna come out in him. So yeah. So there's really nothing more for me to say. I'm going with Miro and Kip Sabian to win. So, Fletch, it is yours.
Yeah, this has the makings of a Miro Kip Sabian win. This definitely does. There's really nothing more to add. So, guys, we're just gonna move right on along. Next up on this fight card that we got is a number one. Well, this is the face of the Revolution ladder match. The winner will receive a title shot, a TNT title shot down the line. The competitors in this match: the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, Penta El Zero, the Murder Hawk Lance Archer, Matt Caster, and a mystery opponent. We do not know who that last person is. Michael Bullock, you lead off.
Yeah, this ought to be something good here. I mean, well, I can tell you it's not going to be Cody Rhodes because to me he's already had his runs with the TNT Championship, so it's going to be one of the others. You said Penta is in this, right, Fletch?
Yes.
Well, that's who I'm going with. I'm going to go with Penta to win this one because I want to see him get the opportunity at the TNT title. Because you put him and Darby Allin in there, woo, that's got a chance to be something really, really good. So, but we'll wait and see. I'm going to go with Penta to win this. So, Fletch, you are you going to go with Penta or who are you going to go with someone else? Especially whoever this mystery opponent is that's going to be in it.
We don't know who the mystery opponent is. Obviously, if the mystery opponent is a huge name, then obviously they're going to give him the rub. But I'm going to go at this in the way that the most logical guy I would go with is the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer. That's the guy that I'm going with to win the match because he's the one that would really get the push, that really needs the push right now. Cody doesn't need it. Penta would be great, no doubt. Penta would be great, but I feel like it's the Murder Hawk's time. He's been in AEW long enough. He hasn't really delivered in a way that I think a lot of fans were hoping for. This would be the rub that he would get that would launch him in AEW. Because the guy is awesome. He's been incredible in New Japan. And for some odd reason, AEW has not done him any wonders. I'm sorry. I know everybody's like, oh, it's going to be great to get this guy and whatever and blah, 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 blah. He's been in AEW and it hasn't delivered in my mind. I'm sorry. I don't. I'm not. I haven't seen anything that has made me really say wow about the Murder Hawk. I'm sorry. So this is his moment to shine. He's going to win this. However, I have heard a rumor of who this guy might be, who that mystery opponent is. And if it's who I think it is, get ready. Because of the fact that it is one of the biggest names in New Japan Pro Wrestling. A former IWGP Heavyweight Champion of the world. Who am I talking about? The rumor going around is that it's Jay White.
The Switchblade Jay White?
You heard me right.
Oh. Woo.
Switchblade Jay White. And trust me, I do not like this guy. I am not a fan of his at all. If Switchblade shows up and he wins this, you're going to see a raging Michael Fletcher coming out.
Cerebral Viper.
Oh, yeah. There is certain guys that I do not care for in professional wrestling. Switchblade Jay White is one of them. For some odd reason, they gave him the belt and made him the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and I went on the record and called him the most undeserving heavyweight champion in the history of the company, and I raged on it. So my level of discontent for Jay White, Derek Ferreira knows where I stand on Jay White and everything. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, okay. And tell us how you really feel. My goodness. But anyways, I actually agree with MF. I'm going with Lance Archer as well. I mean, the Face of the Revolution ladder match is an opportunity for one competitor to rise to the occasion and capture a guaranteed opportunity at the TNT Championship currently held by Darby Allin. Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin have history dating back to the beginning of AEW, and in fact, it was the American Nightmare who Allin defeated to win the title back in November at Full Gear at the last AEW pay-per-view. Allin has always mixed it up with Archer in the past, but he has not had a singles match with either Scorpio Sky or Penta to this point. Max Caster of the Acclaimed will battle the Dark Order's Vance, and obviously Caster got that win. Tony Khan and AEW have a long history of filling these sort of matches with massive surprises, so it remains to be seen who steps in. What does not, at least based on recent trends, is the winner. After a relatively so-so 2020, Archer has exploded back into championship contention by way of dominant wins over Eddie Kingston and his ladder match qualifier win over Rey Fenix. The Murder Hawk Monster is finally showing those flashes of dominance most expected when he exploded onto the scene last year and adopted the cerebral Jake the Snake Roberts as his mentor. Following a hot start to 2021, Revolution feels like his coronation. So MF, you're right. Murder Hawk Lance Archer wins the Face of the ladder match, and he will be the next in line for Darby Allin in the TNT Championship. So unless this mystery guy comes in and it's the big name we think it is, maybe it's the big name that Paul White was talking about the other night on Dynamite. Hall of Fame caliber talent, though. We'll have to wait and see. Nothing more to say. MF, I agree with you. I got Archer winning as well. Let's move on.
All right. So with that said, we do move on to the next match of the evening. That is the Big Money match. That's right. It's going to be Adam Hangman Page versus Big Money Matt Hardy. The winner will receive the loser's 2021 first quarter earnings. Yikes! Ooh, this could be bad for somebody. Look, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I would love to see Adam Hangman Page win this match, but because it's Big Money Matt, you know he's gonna try to screw over Adam Hangman Page. He's gonna cheat. He's gonna steal the fight. To me, winner of the bout is Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy will do something by various means, whatever you want to say, pulling the tights, grabbing a rope, he's going to screw over Adam Hangman Page some way, somehow. And Matt Hardy's going to win this match and get the first quarter earnings of the Hangman Adam Page. I just don't see how this does not go in Matt Hardy's way. I would be shocked if Page wins this match. Florio, it's yours.
Well, for the first time tonight, we disagree. I got Hangman winning this match. I mean, Matt Hardy's failure to lure Hangman Page into his budding business enterprise has set up a big money match between the living legend and anxious millennial cowboy. Nary stupid, Page recognized Hardy's attempts to sign into a contract and swindle him of his money while simultaneously cutting him off from the Dark Order. Page's reaction: sign a contract of his own for a match against Hardy in which, if he wins, he gets 100% of Hardy's first quarter earnings. Never one to be outdone, Hardy asked Page to put the same on the line, and the former tag team champion did just that, heightening the stakes for this Revolution clash. This feels like a moment of comeuppance for Hardy after signing Private Party and taking a significant percentage of their earnings, manipulating his way into a big payday like an old-timey carny promoter. He sees his fortune evaporate on the end of a buckshot lariat from Page. Sure, there could be a surprise upset wherein Hardy continues to build his heel persona since Page is over enough to recover fairly quickly, but this feels like the babyface's match to win, strictly from a creative stance. So I'm going with Hangman Adam Page to win this match. So Michael Bullock, who do you agree with? Do you agree with me and Hangman, or do you agree with MF and Big Money Matt?
I'm going to go with you, Florio. I'm going to go with Adam Hangman Page to win this one. I just think he's going to overcome whatever Big Money Man's going to throw. So, yeah, I'm with Florio. I'm going to go with Adam Hangman Page. So let's move on, Fletch.
All right. And now we get to some of the big fights of the evening. Some of the bigger matches of the night. First off, before we get there, we do got Team Taz. Ricky Stark and Brian Cage. They're going up against the TNT champion Darby Allin and making his return to the ring for the first time since his match with Seth Rollins in WWE, the Icon Sting. Anthony, is it Florio that leads off on this? I believe it is, yes.
Yeah, because it says Bullock ended the last one, I believe.
Yep, so it is yours, Florio.
Team Taz has been at odds with Darby Allin since Brian Cage's debut last May at Double or Nothing. The Human Suplex Machine, his hand-picked FTW champion, and young upstarts Ricky Starks and powerhouse Will Hobbs have beaten down, punished, pummeled, and obliterated Allin on numerous occasions. The resiliency of the young competitor and his intestinal fortitude kept him coming back for more and fueled him to defeat Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship last November at Full Gear. Still, gold did not prevent Allin from catching a beatdown, leading to the shocking debut of Sting in Aew. Winter is Coming, the December 2nd special episode of Dynamite, saw the arrival of the Icon, which led Tony Schiavone to lose his mind, as we all know, marching to the ring and fending off an oppressive heel faction while saving Allin, just as he had numerous times in his days as the vigilante of WCW against the NWO. All signs, well, actually, no, hold on. In the weeks that followed, he would repeatedly appear in support of Allin, who drew comparisons to the Hall of Famer. The February 17th episode of Dynamite saw Cage rattle Sting with a jarring powerbomb, the first major bump the legend has taken in almost 6 years. He recovered nicely, joining Allin in an attack of Team Taz a week later and leaving Starks lying following a Scorpion death drop. All signs would seemingly point to the returning hero conquering the evil foes and earning his first winning years, even as the unrelenting force of Cage and the undeniable talent of Starks looms large. Allin has made a career of winning big matches against tough opponents. With Sting by his side, he will win his biggest yet. There's no other way for this to go. The winners of this match, the TNT champion Darby Allin, and the Hall of Famer, the Icon, the Stinger. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, for me, this is the easiest match on the card to call, hands down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I'm going with Darby Allin and Sting to to win this one over Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. So
And I
there's
also
nothing
heard,
more
sorry to interrupt, Bullock. I'm sorry to interrupt, Bullock, but I forgot to mention, I read a dirt sheet today saying that, from what I heard, this is going to be a cinematic bout.
That ought to be interesting. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
All right, 3 matches left. They are all championship matches. First off, we have is the AEW World Tag Team titles on the line. The Young Bucks goes up against Chris Jericho and MJF. Michael Bullock, you lead off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could say this has become very personal with the with these two teams, and it was all because of Jericho and MJF attacking Papa Buck, and yeah, so I think this was a way of trying to get into the heads of the Young Bucks, and the Bucks did get some retribution on Wednesday night, but if they're gonna go booking 101 after what we saw, then yeah, I'm gonna call it right here. Winner and new AEW World Tag Team Champions, Chris Jericho and MJF. I know they're gonna do something pretty dirty and sneaky to try to win it. But I would not be surprised if the Young Bucks do retain. But I got a suspicion that Jericho and MJF are gonna walk out the new tag team champions. Fletch, it is yours.
I cannot disagree with Michael Bullock. He's absolutely right. That was my prediction going in as well. I think that's what's going to happen. As much as the Young Bucks would love to get revenge, I think it's better for them to be chasing the belts instead of having the belts. Winners and new AEW World Tag Team Champions Chris Jericho and Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF. Florio, it's yours.
Chris Jericho and MJF escalated things with the Young Bucks on Dynamite as they attacked, bloodied, and left Matt and Nick Jackson's father in need of medical attention. It was the first real emphasis on that particular rivalry, especially considering both teams have had their own issues to deal with. The Bucks have been embroiled in a deteriorating relationship with world champion Kenny Omega and Impact Tag Team champions the Good Brothers, while Jericho and MJF are still reeling from Sammy Guevara quitting the Inner Circle. Which team will be able to shake off their personal issues, and will the challengers be able to use the champion's emotions against them in a winning effort? Possibly, but at the same time, it feels like a perfect opportunity for Guevara to make his presence felt and ruin his former cohort's championship aspirations. I mean, let's not rule that out. However, there is a lot going on here between the struggles within the Inner Circle and the Bucks' issues with the Good Brothers. The Bucks don't really need the titles, and there are a lot of interesting avenues that open up with Jericho and MJF as champs, including having an established team in their own stable, and the possibility of Sammy Guevara returning with a partner of his own to try and get revenge on MJF. So I do agree with you guys. Winners and new AEW World Tag Team Champions, Chris Jericho and MJF of the Inner Circle. So not much more to say. MF, let's move on to a very interesting women's title match where we already knew Shida would be there, but her opponent we did not expect.
Yeah, it's Ryo Mizunami. She's going to be fighting Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's title, and I believe it is. Well, actually,
You lead off.
I lead off. So, look, Shida's been a dominating champion. She's been an amazing AEW Women's champion up to this point. She's really proven herself worthy of the opportunity, and she's done so good since winning the title. And without a doubt, she has been one of the best in AEW, and her accolades has been really well. She's held the belt, current champion, and I mean, this is going to be one of the top matches of her career. She is without a doubt going to be in the fight of her career against Ryu Mizunami. I mean, a lot of people don't know her really well, but I mean, Mizunami is without a doubt one of the top in the world. She was in AEW when she first started. Now has a shot at the belt. And she's no slouch, guys. She has won many titles in her career. And now this is without a doubt the biggest fight of her career. But I think Hikaru Shida will find a way to win the match. For me, Shida wins. She keeps the title. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, Ryu Mizunami, without a doubt, bracket buster. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I had Thunder Rosa winning this tournament, winning the tournament. I really did. And then I also had Thunder Rosa taking the title from Hikaru Shida as well. But obviously, that's not going to happen. But as far as this is concerned, this match could be outstanding. But will Shida's lengthy reign come to an end? Ryu Mizunami had to grind through the Eliminator tournament to earn her title shot, but it's unclear if that means AEW is ready to put a title on her. There's a lot of importance in picking the right moment to end the longest title reign in company history, because the person who wins the belt gets a huge rub from that. I don't know that Mizunami is the woman for that role in AEW's eyes. So with that being said, the winner and still the AEW Women's Champion, Hikaru Shida. Nothing more to say. Bullock, are we going to make it unanimous?
I'm going to make it unanimous. I mean, I think Mitsunami is really going to give Hikaru Shida a challenge here, but Shida will rise to the occasion and somehow pull it out. So, winner and still the AEW Women's World Champion, Hikaru Shida. Fletch, it's time, and this is a match that, shall we say, is not for the weak of heart.
And an MF special.
AEW World Heavyweight title on the line in an exploding barbed wire death match. The champion, Kenny Omega, the challenger, and former champion, Jon Moxley. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
First things first, I know both of you guys are going to agree with me on this when I say this right here has not only has the I mean, we already know this is going to be the fight of the night. That we already know. But I know you guys will agree with me on this when I say this has potential match of the year candidate written all over it. I mean, remember, my personal match of the year for 2020 came from this very pay-per-view when the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page had that unbelievable tag team title match. I think this has the potential to be just as good, if not even better. From the closing moments of AEW's debut pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, in May 2019 in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega have been embroiled in the company's most vicious and violent feud. Moxley jumped Omega on the first episode of Dynamite and delivered a paradigm shift through a glass table. From there, they battled in an unsanctioned lights-out match at Full Gear in November of 2019. The feud took a break throughout most of 2020 before jump-starting in time for the December 2 Winter is Coming episode of Dynamite. There, Omega conspired with Impact Wrestling Executive Vice President Don Callis to screw Moxley out of the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Since then, Moxley has made it his goal to avenge the wrongdoing, even when it meant suffering a beatdown at the hands of the Cleaner and his buddies, the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Champions, Carl Anderson and the Big LG, Luke Gallows, the Good Brothers. On the February 24 episode of Dynamite, Moxley sent a message loudly and clearly to his foe, promising if he was to go out, he was going out in glory in an exploding barbed wire death match at Revolution, a match hand-selected by the champion Omega. The match promises a level of violence and brutality we have yet to see from AEW. Yes, the aforementioned lights out match brought barbed wire, glass, and thumbtacks to the table, but this is the first time we have seen a match of this type in a major North American promotion. The question is whether Omega will be able to find a way to steal another win. Given the effort that has gone into telling this story, turning Omega heel, and setting up the Impact contingent, all signs point to that answer being a resounding yes. And let's also not forget that Jon Moxley, he's married to a beautiful dame by the name of Renee Paquette, alias Renee Young. She's pregnant. She's expecting a kid. And this could be their way of writing off Moxley. And so he can take the time off and, get ready to welcome his new child into the world. And there's no way they're going to ship the title back to Moxley right now. There's simply no good reason to do so. That said, this is an exploding barbed wire death match between Omega and Moxley, which is more than enough to get you excited. Omega will retain. It will be memorable and also extremely violent. I think it's going to be even more violent than the Lights Out match at the Full Gear. So, but also, it's going to be a 5-star classic. It's going to be Shakespearean drama. Yes, Moxley won the title at this event last year, beating Jericho, and held the title longer than anybody to this point. But no, this is the perfect way to write off Moxley. I think something very dangerous is going to happen. I think we're going to see maybe the most dangerous spot we've ever seen in the history of the business. And that will write off Moxley so he can go be with Renee and they can get ready to welcome their new bundle of joy into the world. So, and then we'll see what happens after that. So, winner and still the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the cleaner from North Carolina, Kenny Omega. That was for you, Justin Roberts. Shout out to you, brother. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, you and I have never seen a match of this magnitude. MF's probably seen 1 or 2 of these in his lifetime, and I know he'll wax poetic on it when we get to him, but get ready for the most barbaric, brutal, violent, smash mouth match that we have ever seen in the history of the business, which has the potential to be a 5-star Shakespearean drama match of the year candidate.
If you can't fathom something that we're going to see on Sunday, I'm telling you, people, don't even watch this, because like you said, this is going to be brutal. This is going to be barbaric. And it's going to be one of the most violent matches that I've ever seen in professional wrestling. I mean, I've seen violence before, but not to the point of what we're going to see on Sunday. You better believe it. There's going to be blood in this match, and there may be buckets of it with the way this is going to go. I mean, both of these men, I think, will never be the same after this fight. I mean, the rivalry has been there. I mean, their lights out match was barbaric, but this is going to be way more barbaric than this. So, oh boy. And I'll tell you this, guys, and I don't know how you feel, but somewhere in the back, Tony Khan's going to be pretty nervous for these two guys, because I just can't fathom what the hell's going to happen with these two. I couldn't even fathom, and yeah, but in the end, like you said, I think this is going to be the way of writing Jon Moxley off, so him and Renee Paquette can welcome their first child. So, to me, winner and still the AEW World Champion, the cleaner, Kenny Omega. Fletch, as I give it to you, I got a bad feeling about this. Neither one of these men is ever going to be the same after this match.
It is going to be so sadistic. The ring ropes will be wrapped in barbed wire. You ain't going to have any regular ropes. They're going to be they're going to be barbed wire ropes. The turnbuckles are going to be C4 explosives. And it is going to be deadly. It is going to be devastating. Blood at a premium in this match. And basically, it's pinfall or submission to end it. It is going to be bloody. It's going to be barbaric. If you got a weak stomach, this is not the fight for you. Moxley, this is probably going to be his last hurrah because of the fact, as many of you know, Jon Moxley will be leaving soon because Renee Paquette is expecting. And actually, they're supposed to have a baby girl themselves. And I think she is due real soon, like a couple of weeks or something like that, at least a month away from now. Mox is done. Winner of the bout, and still AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Kenny Omega. All right, so that does it. We're done for tonight. We'll do it on Monday night, Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio. We will recap AEW Revolution on Wednesday night. So, for Anthony Florio, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you on Monday night for Ridiculously Raw.